Welcome to today's seminar. The area we're going to cover today is the fleet management module. We're going to kind of look at the browse window, the shop master, and the shop detail records and how they interface with various other modules in the equipment preventive maintenance area. To go to the fleet management module, just highlight fleet management and press the enter key. It opens and displays all of the shop work orders that you currently have recorded. All of the excuse me, columns are hot, so you can do sorts, area to subset any of the records by any criteria. And once subsetted, you can send them out to PDF, HTML, Excel, or Word, or any other module areas. Also on the browse window, we have other functions available. You can drop down to the equipment module to see all your equipment listed by clicking here. We'll cover the equipment module separately, but it does have a very strong influence on everything you do within the shop work order module. The warranties table is a table where you can record any parts that are added to any of your equipment during maintenance, and that way you can keep track of the warranty, the length of time, and if it's expired. It's always a good idea when you pull a piece of equipment in that has a part or component that is defective to take a quick look at the warranty table to see if that particular part has a warranty on it. And once you can record this in your warranty table, it'll help you a whole lot in tracking down any parts. And there is quite a bit of savings if you do have a warranty part that craps out before the expiration date. The multi-work order form, it's a report that lets you print multiple work orders on one piece of equipment over a date range. And that lets you, when a piece of equipment comes in, you can quickly print out the history of maintenance on any given piece of equipment. It gives you a handle on that. Within the report writer, you can select 1 or 2 pages to print. There's an option under there to do that. And a lot of times you probably won't even want to print them, but it'll let you get a quick recap of total activity. The help button drops down into our help area, and we have help buttons on all of the windows to kind of explain more about each functional area. The print shop work order lets you print any selected work order by the number. We can print number 5 here, for instance. And this will give you a shop work order that occurred on that particular shop work order. Now, if you had multiple shop work orders, you can click the file, pages to print, and list the pages you wanted to print. If you had 50 pages of shop work orders over a period of time on a piece of equipment, you could list and then print just whatever you want to print. That pretty much covers the browse window. Let's take a look at shop work order number 6. You can double click on it. All of these controls also control the browse window. And this is a shop work order in the child records. In other words, each line item record would be listed in this window. When you bring a piece of equipment in, you first want to assign it to the shop work order. Generally, you may have another shop work order going that you want to assign it to, but generally you group all of your maintenance work on equipment under the shop 2008 or whatever you designate it. The project is set up in the projects table. And this is actually a default that's set up under the entity table. You select the piece of equipment that you're going to be working on. And when you do, it'll bring in the start date and end date. This is shop work order already in progress. It also will pull any previous history in on that piece of equipment. You can see the last time this piece of equipment was worked on shop work order wise was all the way back to February of 2007, and this is November 2008. This is all demo data, of course. You can pull a safety inspection and check whichever safety requirement met. And you also can fill out the work description, what was actually performed once the performance is done. And these are preventive maintenance resets. If you pull it in, do a filter change oil and air filters and all, you might want to reset the preventive maintenance date and meter back so that it will then clock forward from that date and tell you when you need to do the next preventive maintenance. Let's see, let's add a record to this. We'll say it's 03/15/08. And we'll say that this was just an outside service performed by this particular vendor, $575.25. So once we record that, it then becomes a record here. We'll take a look here. Before, we have actually two outside services on this, as well as one inside part replace. So this also has a help button that will get you on out to help to explain what goes on with all the records. This is a recap, but we spent $5,542, of which $658 was outside labor and $48,484 was material. Once we save that, then we can print it by going to this button. We'll do a 6 because that's shop work order 6. And then it prints the shop work order up. This was the previous outside service that was on it, and then we added this for, well, no, this was we turned the brake drums on this previous one, and then the one we just added now was this one. The reason it's sorted above it, because this is a date sort in up sequence. So it gives you a recap of all that. The shop work order system will let you use this form to capture all the information done when they work on it. If you print this shop work order up front, or if you use your existing shop work orders, you can use this system to follow up on it and then enter it into the system. So it's kind of whichever way you want to use the system, it works either way. So that pretty much covers the fleet management module. There's a whole lot of other things it does. It does interface with the equipment module. And let's take a look at, say, a piece of equipment here. Once you go on to the preventive maintenance scheduling, you need to attach a preventive maintenance code to each piece of equipment. And the way you do that is basically select what, we'll say this is a loader. It then will attach that profile to it. But let's take a look a little more at actually the preventive maintenance. When we double click on any record, and we're saying that for loaders and scrapers, every 100 hours we want to perform a preventive maintenance on the engine. That would be engine and filters and all associated components. We want to do a 500-mile maintenance, preventive maintenance on transmission and filters, and 500 miles on the hydraulics. And the tracks we want to take a look at once a year in a number of days. You can set this to meter as well as the date interval and an estimated cost, so you can forecast ahead some of your costs you'll be running into. So once you determine or create a new preventive maintenance profile, you assign it, and then you need to save the record to extend all the multiples forward. And then we'll see it over here in the preventive maintenance parameters. The last PM was 1,522 hours, and so we have a next one at that 100-mile interval, which is 1,622, or the data interval would be around August 24, 2008. This is older test data, so the dates may not reflect too much reality. The meter readings on this, so this system looks at this reading every time the equipment is maintenance, and then it looks back to these intervals, and then it will flag preventive maintenance. You also can put a picture of your equipment in there through our viewer. You can blow this up. This is a really small picture, but if it was larger, it wouldn't be quite distorted like it is here. Um, where you save the pictures, let's do an open here, and it's in the equipment table, which is under the images table, which is under the data table. Excuse me, these are folders. Equipment folder, under the images folder, under the data folder, under your road and bridge, wherever you happen to have it running. So you basically put any type of image, can be any one of like 50 or so different image formats in there, and it'll automatically read it for you. This particular image would be in that equipment folder, and it would be image 100.jpg or PNG or whatever format. And if you had several pictures of 100, you would have 100 and then a -1, -2, -3 for multiple pictures following it.